Hello, we are in Chapter 7, Section 7.1, Composing Functions. In this video, we are going to go over problem number 1, in which we are given two functions and we are to find different compositions in here, evaluating those actually at specific inputs. So just to remind you that little circle that we see here and there is indicating that we are composing functions f and g in proper order. The one that is closer to the input, so g in here and f in there, are the ones that are applied first, like the washer. And then the second function, further away from the input, more on the outside we can say, is the second function applied on top of that first one, like a dryer in doing the laundry. So by definition, f composed with g at -2 first has g working on -2. So we can say this is equal to, and once again, g is the first function applied to the input of -2. And then once we evaluate that, we will apply the function f to that number. So we start with g of -2. So we want to perceive our functions as functions at any input to be free of x or any label of the variable. So let's present them this way, where the inputs are simply here as placeholders. So whatever we will be evaluating at will be thrown into those placeholders. So the function f here squares the input and then takes away 3 from the whole thing, while the second function doubles the input and then adds 1 to it. So our first task is to find g of -2. So we are throwing -2 into the function g. So that's going to be 2 times -2 plus 1. And that simplifies to -4 plus 1, which is -3. But remember, this is just what we have inside of our function f. Therefore, this, once we simplify it, of course, becomes eventually the input of f. So that f is still on the outside, that f is still applied to that -3 in here. So now it's the matter of finding f of -3. So this time we are throwing in -3 into the function f. So we're evaluating f of -3, so that -3 here is of course squared, and then we subtract 3. So that's going to be the square of -3 minus 3. And the square of -3 is 9, 9 minus 3 is 6. And this is it for part A. Now in part B, we are evaluating a different composition, g composed with f of -3. So f is the first function applied to -3. So we will start with f of -3 in here. And then on top of that, we will apply the function g. So that's the formal definition of this evaluation of that composition. So again, we are starting with f of -3. So we're throwing -3 into f, but we already know what f of -3 is. We computed it in part A, so we know it is 6. So we can simply put 6 in there already. And now it's just a matter of evaluating g at 6. So we're throwing 6 into the function g. So it's going to be 2 times 6 plus 1. 2 times 6 is 12. 12 plus 1 is 13. And that will be the value for part B.